Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like your own mind is working against you? Like there's a war going on inside you? One part of you wants to grow, to evolve, to rise, but another part keeps pulling you back into fear, distraction, and self-doubt? You're not lazy, you're not broken, you're simply misaligned. And what I'm about to share with you tonight, if you lean in, if you really listen, will shift the direction of your life. Because here's the truth most people never learn. You are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. You are the one who chooses where they go. And once you understand how to take back control of your mind, once you learn how to redirect your energy away from anxiety, overthinking, and pain, and aim it at transformation, healing, and purpose, everything changes. Not someday, not later, right now. So if you're ready to stop being the prisoner of your patterns and start becoming the creator of your future, then this is your moment. This is your wake-up call. Stay with me, because by the end of this speech, you won't just feel motivated, you'll feel unstoppable. Let me tell you something most people never realize. Your life doesn't change when you get more information. It changes when you become aware. Awareness is the first domino. It's the moment you stop running on autopilot, stop living reactively, and finally start owning your experience. Most people are walking through life asleep. They're driven by habits they didn't choose, beliefs they inherited, and emotions they never learned how to manage. They wake up tired, they react to their phone, they go through the motions, and they wonder why they feel stuck. It's not because they're incapable, it's because they've forgotten one truth. You can't change what you refuse to notice. When you become aware, really aware, it's like someone turned the lights on inside your mind. You start to notice the thoughts that run you. You start hearing that inner critic, that constant voice saying, you're not enough, why bother, what if you fail? And instead of just listening and obeying like you always have, something inside you shifts. You stop and say, wait, who's really in control here? That's the beginning of transformation. It's not loud, it's not flashy, but it's real and it's powerful. See, your mind is like a wild horse. If you don't train it, it'll run wherever it wants, usually straight toward fear, doubt, and distraction. But when you become aware, you take the reins. You realize, I don't have to think that thought. I don't have to follow that emotion. I don't have to react that way. That's when you start living consciously instead of automatically. And that's when the game changes. The problem is most people confuse thinking with awareness. Just because you're thinking about your problems doesn't mean you're solving them. In fact, overthinking is usually just fear dressed up in logic. True awareness is deeper. It's when you feel the tension in your body and instead of numbing it, you breathe into it. It's when you hear the excuses your mind feeds you and you don't argue, you just observe. And from that place, you get to choose differently. That's the key, choice. Without awareness, there's no choice. You just keep repeating the same patterns, hoping for different results. But once you see it, you can shift it. You can say, that story no longer serves me. You can say, that reaction doesn't align with who I'm becoming. And the moment you do that, even once, you start building a new identity. One thought at a time, one decision at a time. This isn't about becoming perfect, it's about becoming present. Because in presence, you reclaim your power. And when you reclaim your power, your energy stops being scattered. It becomes focused, intentional, and transformational. And it all begins the moment you wake up to yourself. Now, once you've woken up, once you've stepped into that awareness, we've got to talk about what's happening in that mind of yours every single day. Because let's be honest, most people's inner world is chaos. They're not just thinking thoughts, they're trapped in a loop. And that loop is built by their inner dialogue. You know what I'm talking about. That voice in your head that's been whispering the same story for years, they're not ready. They'll laugh at you. You always screw it up. And here's the truth. If you don't interrupt that voice, it will run your life. The words you say to yourself are not just thoughts. They are instructions. Your brain is always listening. And if you keep feeding it doubt, fear, shame, guilt, it's going to obey. It's going to build a reality that reflects those commands. You'll start showing up in ways that prove the lie just so your identity can stay safe. You won't take risk. You won't speak up. You'll shrink to fit the story. And that's not because you're weak. It's because you've been rehearsing limitation. But here's the beautiful thing. The same way you programmed your mind with those disempowering thoughts, you can reprogram it. You can interrupt the loop. You can challenge that inner dialogue and install a new one that aligns with your potential, not your past. You do that by making a decision. From this moment forward, I speak truth to myself. Not fantasy, not fluff, truth. You speak to the version of you that you're stepping into, not the one who's afraid, but the one who's already risen. You start saying things like, I'm in charge of my energy. My past does not define me. I make powerful choices. And when your old thoughts creep in, and they will, you don't ignore them. You call them out. You say, I hear you, but you don't run the show anymore. That's leadership. That's inner authority. And when you take authority over your inner dialogue, everything starts to shift. Your emotions, your actions, your outcomes. Now, this isn't about fake positivity. This isn't about plastering affirmations over deep wounds and pretending everything's fine. This is about using your words to build something real inside of you. Words that cut through the noise and remind you of your truth. Because when your inner dialogue changes, your energy follows. You show up differently. You walk into the room with conviction. You stop begging for approval. You start creating your life instead of reacting to it. And it all starts with mastering that voice, the voice inside, the one that has the power to either imprison you or free you. You've heard me say it before, motion creates emotion. And that's not just a catchy line, it's a principle. Because once you start gaining awareness and shifting that inner dialogue, there's another piece most people overlook. Your body, your physical state. You see, your body is not separate from your mind. It's the gateway to it. The way you breathe, the way you move, the way you hold yourself. It all sends signals to your brain. And your brain responds with emotion, with focus, with energy. Change your body and you change your state. Just think about it. When you're depressed, what does your body do? Shoulders slump, breathing gets shallow, your gaze drops, your whole system pulls inward. Now imagine trying to make powerful decisions from that state. It's impossible. That's not weakness. That's physiology. But flip it. Imagine standing tall, breathing deep, pulling your shoulders back, locking your eyes forward. That sends a completely different message to your nervous system. You go from survival to strength, from helpless to resourceful. And that shift, that state change can happen in a moment. The problem is most people wait until they feel better to move better. They say, I'll go for that walk when I feel motivated. I'll hit the gym when I'm out of this funk. No, that's backwards. You don't wait for energy. You create it. You command it. When you feel stuck, that's the very moment to change your physiology. Because action is what breaks patterns. You want to change how you think? Move. You want to break a cycle of fear or anxiety? Move, stand up, shake it out, jump, breathe, take that power pose. You'll be amazed how fast your mind follows. And listen, this isn't about pretending everything's okay. This isn't about putting on a fake smile. This is about honoring the intelligence of your body. It knows how to shift you if you'll let it. Some of the most powerful breakthroughs don't come from thinking harder. They come from moving differently, from screaming into a pillow, from running until you cry, from dancing alone in your room until something in you lets go. That's real. That's transformation. And it's available to you anytime. The body's the fastest access point to energy. You want to be in peak state? Build habits around movement. Ritualize it. Get up and stretch when you're stuck. Go outside, do 10 push-ups. Breathe deep into your belly for 60 seconds. It's not about doing a full workout. It's about shifting the state. That one shift can change how you show up in a conversation, in a decision in your life. Because if you want to direct your energy with purpose, you've got to own the instrument that drives it. And that instrument is your body. Every movement is a message. The question is, what are you telling yourself with how you move? If there's one law that governs transformation, it's this: where focus goes, energy flows. It's not theory, it's real. Whatever you consistently place your attention on will expand in your life. Your mind is like a spotlight. And the problem is most people are shining it on what's missing, what's wrong, what they fear might happen. Then they wonder why they're exhausted, stuck, overwhelmed. It's not because life is impossible. It's because they're focusing all their energy on the problem and none of it on the solution. Focus is a decision. It's a habit. And it's a skill you've got to train like a muscle. Because if you don't control your focus, the world will. Social media will, the news will, everyone else's noise will hijack your attention until you're living in reaction instead of creation. That's not living, that's surviving. And we didn't come here to survive. We came here to grow, to expand, to lead. Now, this isn't about pretending your problems don't exist. This is about refusing to give them all your power. You can acknowledge the challenge without obsessing over it. You can feel pain without making it your identity. The key is to shift the question you're asking yourself. Most people walk around asking, why does this always happen to me? What's wrong with me? What if I fail again? And those questions lock you into fear. But you ask a better question, you get a better focus. Ask, what can I learn from this? How is this shaping me? What's my next powerful move? Boom, your focus shifts. And so does your energy. Because the truth is, your focus determines your future. Not your circumstances, not your past, your focus. Two people can go through the same storm. One comes out broken, the other comes out stronger. The difference? One focused on the pain, the other focused on the purpose. One kept asking, why me? The other said, try me. This applies to every area of life. In your health, are you focused on how hard it is to stay consistent, or on how amazing it feels to honor your body? In your relationships, are you focused on what's missing or on what you're grateful for? In your goals, are you staring at how far you have to go or how far you've come? That shift changes your entire emotional state. You've got to guard your focus like your life depends on it, because it does. Where you direct your attention is where you plant the seeds of your future. Feed it fear, you'll grow doubt. Feed it vision, you'll grow momentum. And the beautiful thing is, you get to choose. Every moment, every day, you are the director of that spotlight. And when you take full ownership of your focus, you take back the reins of your energy and you start shaping a future that reflects the power you were born to live with. There comes a point in your journey when you've got to stop negotiating with your old identity. You've broken out of autopilot, started managing your inner voice, mastered your state, taking control of your focus. And now there's one question left. Who are you becoming? Because if your mind and energy are being redirected, they need to be aimed at something greater than survival. Transformation isn't just about change. It's about alignment with the next evolution of you. And that evolution doesn't come by accident. It comes by decision. The mistake most people make is trying to change their behavior while still holding on to an identity that doesn't match their vision. They say they want to grow, but they keep seeing themselves as the same person who failed last year, the same person who always quits, who never follows through, who's not worthy. And as long as that's the identity you live in, nothing changes. Because your brain will fight to stay consistent with who you believe you are, even if that belief is a lie. So here's the breakthrough. You've got to choose the identity of the person you're becoming and start living from that place now. Not when you feel ready, not when it's perfect, right now. If you see yourself as someone who's disciplined, what does that version of you do when it's hard? If you identify as someone who's powerful, how do you show up when doubt creeps in? That's the key. Your actions must match the version of you that's already living the life you want, not the version who's waiting for it. This isn't fake it till you make it. This is embodying it until you become it. There's a difference. You start asking, How would the future me handle this situation? How would the most aligned, most resilient, most powerful version of me think, speak, move, decide? And then you do that. You step into it, even when it feels unnatural. Because the more you do, the more it becomes who you are. Look, your past is real, but it's not a life sentence. You don't have to drag your history into your future unless you choose to. You don't owe your past identity anything. And people will try to hold you to it. They'll say, you've changed. Good. That's the point. Growth offends the comfortable. But this isn't about them. This is about you rising into the vision that was planted in you for a reason. And yes, it takes courage. Yes, it's uncomfortable. But transformation always is. It's supposed to stretch you. It's supposed to challenge everything small about you because it's inviting something greater to rise. And when you step fully into that future identity, not as a wish, but as a commitment, your entire life begins to reorganize around that decision. Because once you align your identity with your vision, nothing can pull you back into who you used to be. Now let's get one thing straight. None of this means anything if you don't make it part of how you live. You can have the greatest breakthroughs, the most powerful shifts in awareness, the deepest insight into who you are and where you're going. But if it's not followed by consistent action, it fades. Inspiration without structure turns into frustration. Transformation doesn't stick because of one big aha moment. It sticks because you turn the new you into a daily ritual. You don't rise by accident. You rise by design. The people who truly transform their lives don't rely on motivation. They build systems. They create rituals that anchor their new identity into the physical world, not once, not when they feel like it, every day. It could be 10 minutes in the morning where you breathe deeply, get centered, and declare your focus for the day. It could be writing down the identity you're stepping into again and again until it's burned into your nervous system. It could be making your bed like a warrior who respects their environment. It's not about how big the ritual is. It's about whether or not it pulls you back into alignment. Because life is going to test you. Distractions will come. Stress will show up. Old patterns will knock on your door like they never left. And if you don't have a ritual, if you don't have something that brings you back to your truth, you'll drift. Not because you're weak, but because life has gravity. It pulls at you. And your rituals are what keep you grounded in your new standard. You've got to build a rhythm to your transformation. Your nervous system thrives on rhythm. Wake up, breathe, move, affirm, commit. Repeat, and the more you repeat it, the more automatic it becomes. That's when the real magic kicks in. That's when the new version of you starts becoming the default, not the exception. Because now your identity isn't something you visit once in a while. It's something you live inside of every day. And yes, there will be days you fall short. There will be moments you forget. That's human. But the beauty of having rituals is that they give you a way back. You don't need to start over. You just return. You plug back into your routine. You don't beat yourself up. You recommit. Because you're not chasing perfection. You're practicing alignment. If you want to master your mind, redirect your energy, and create lasting transformation, don't just wait for the next high. Build habits that hold your standard. Build rituals that remind you who you are, and do them until there's no version of you that doesn't. Because once your rituals match your vision, the transformation becomes permanent.